What is up, my fellow gamers? In today's video, we got our best tier list for the adventure characters in Tales of Terrarium. Like and sub for more amazing gaming content. We also got two brand new coupon codes that were just released last night. I'll go ahead and throw them up on the screen. Let's jump into this tier list. She is currently in the time-limited recruitment, and that is going to be the super tank, Marilyn. She has the taunt ability, so she can go ahead and draw the aggro of the enemies. She also has another ability where when her HP falls below a certain percentage, she just takes reduced damage. So she's pretty much what I would say the best tank in the game. Throw her in the front line and just have the rest of your team be damage dealers and supports, and you'll cruise on through. For me, she is easily at the top. We're putting her at the S. Next one we got is going to be another one of my favorites, and that is going to be Bell. His ultimate skill, Dark Moon, he goes ahead, grants a blessing. You're getting increased physical attack damage, increasing his attack speed. But what I like about this is we get 50% life steal to normal attack. So every time he goes ahead and deals damage to enemies, he's healing himself. So he self heals, which is really, really strong. It helps take a lot of the pressure off your dedicated healer in your team. For me, he is easily another top tier S. We're putting him right behind Marilyn. Next one we got is going to be Cecilia. Now, she is a mage that specializes in doing AoE damage with her ultimate ability, Meteor Shower, where she does fireball damage. She also has a really cool passive ability, Flame Chain, where she kind of connects enemies so that they share damage. So anytime one enemy takes a damage, it's going to be shared with others. So it kind of spreads out the damage, allowing you to kind of turn single target damage into AoE damage, which is really cool. Strong character, but for me, not quite an S. I'm putting her still at the top. I think she is easily an A tier, but not like super duper broken. Now, Duncan, I feel, is a little bit tough because I think he's like in between an S and an A. I think he's like an A plus or an S minus. I love his ultimate ability. He goes ahead and he restores 100 energy and increases the attack for nearby adventures. So he's a super duper strong buffer for the team. And then the other thing that I also like about him is his passive ability. When he's defeated, basically dies, he goes ahead and he just restores the HP by a percentage to all the adventurers who are still alive. So you get some really cool, unique effects by him. But I think the ultimate ability he has, just buffing his teammates, for me, I'm going to put him in like the S minus. I think he's going to be the weaker of the S tier characters, but definitely I think he's deserving of an S tier. Next one we got is going to be Aiden. Now, Aiden is another warrior, but unfortunately, there's a lot better warriors that we can choose from in this game. His ultimate ability just goes ahead, deals a bunch of damage. Then he has a passive ability, grants a shield that blocks damage, which is good. The shielding kind of makes him a little bit at least tanky. And then he also does have the passive where the parrot will periodically taunt the furthest enemy for 4 seconds. But really, we want to have something a little bit more when it comes to our tank. I think he is not the worst, so I'm not putting him in the C, but I definitely would choose some other tanks over him. Early game, you can get away with using him, but you're definitely going to need a better tank once you get to like the later, harder, more difficult content. So I'm putting him in the B for right now. Next one we got is going to be Snow. Snow is a mage character with controlling effects. His ultimate ability causes ice blocks to explode, deals magic damage to enemies, and chills them. So he has some cool crowd control abilities. He also is one of his passives. He can grant a shield that lasts for an amount of time. I do like his freeze ability, which is kind of cool. In certain situations, it can be good, but still think there are better options, so we're putting him in the C. This one's going to be Vivian. Now, she specializes AoE damage and also crowd control abilities. She's going to be a mage. Her ultimate skill performs the forbidden spell on enemies within range. We deal a bunch of magic damage, but I love about her is the silencing. So I mentioned this in all of my videos when we're talking about characters in these hero collecting games. I am a huge advocate for any characters that have that silence effect. I think it is an amazing ability, just being able to silence the enemy and not allow them to use any of their abilities for a certain amount of time, I think is very devastating. And then her other passive ability just deals a bunch of AoE damage, and then when she takes fatal damage for the first time, she ignores damage and restores 60% max HP. For me, I think she's easily another one that's in between S and the A, like an A+, S- for me. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm putting her at the back. I think she's another one that's like really strong that you could put in the S category or the A category. I'm giving her like an S-. Next character we got is gonna be, I believe it's pronounced Ansha. She is a warrior that specializes in putting like the bleed effect on enemies. We take a look at her ultimate. She dashes forward, deals a bunch of damage. As passive, we have Slash, which is the ability that goes ahead, puts that bleeding effect on enemies. We're also reducing their physical defense by a percentage, which I do really like as well. And then we also have this other competitive passive. The lower the HP, the stronger the caster becomes. For me, I think she's pretty good, not quite an A. I'm putting her in the B area. I think she's about on par with Aiden. Next one we got is gonna be Morris. This is a mage that specializes in healing and also buffing our teams. His ultimate ability deals a bunch of damage to enemies, but we grant all allies a shield. One that I think is definitely better than a B. I would say, you know, maybe like a B+, A-. For me, I'm going to put him at the back of the A just because I think he's just a really good, strong, supportive character. You're removing debuffs, you're healing your team, you're buffing them. He's adding a lot of value to your team. Next one we got is, I can't pronounce this, I think it's Verita. For ultimate skill, we go ahead and we deal a bunch of magic damage, but then we can see at level 3, we're going to dispel all buffs on the target, which is really strong. About an average solid character, I would say. I'm putting her in the B. I think she's probably a little bit better than the other two. Next one we got is going to be Robin. This is a little bit of a weaker character. Has an ultimate skill that deals a bunch of damage to enemies. Passive ability, charge and shoots. And then the other passive, during normal attacks, we got a chance for arrows to penetrate through the target. He really doesn't have anything that's amazing compared to a lot of the other characters that we're going over. A lot of the other characters do more things. He's one of the weaker characters for this. I'm putting him at the bottom in the C area. Next one we got is going to be Taylor. Now, Taylor is a tough one because I like the ultimate ability for this guy. Goes ahead and fires this marble, bounces between enemies 6 times, stuns for 1 second, and then it has a 20% chance to explode and deal additional damage and stun for 5 seconds. I love the ultimate skill, but it's a little bit gambly. If it goes ahead and it explodes on that 20% chance, and you get a 5-second stun on the enemy, it's so devastating. Like, it's so devastating on the enemy. But if it doesn't trigger, then it's kind of like a meh. And that's all he has. Like, his other passive skills, they're okay. They're not the greatest. The special marble one, though, once you get it to level 2, the stun duration is increased. So for me, he's like a C+, B-. I think Tally is definitely better than Snow. He's definitely better than Robin, but it's kind of tough to say if he's like better than some of these other ones. Next character we got is going to be a shooter class, and this is Yuli, I think is how you say it. Now, she has some really cool effects that I like with her. For her ultimate skill, we shoot and deal a bunch of damage to the targets. We stun them for 5 seconds. So we're getting a character that has the stun effect. And I think she's definitely by far better than Tally, and she's also going to do more. So that's why right off the bat, we're naturally ranking her higher than Tally. For our passive skill, receives a blessing. We increase our attack speed by a percentage and also our dodge rate. We also grant immunity to control effects. So, you know, I think that's way better than Tally. That's why I put Tally in the C, because I feel like she is definitely better, and she also has stunning abilities. And then for the other one, our normal attacks have a chance to ignore the enemy's physical defense. And then you can see as it levels up, it's going to increase the chance to ignore it. And then normal attacks will just deal additional damage. For me, she is easily in the B area, not quite an A. I would definitely put her in like the middle of the B. I think she's better than Aiden and Anisha as well. Next one we got is going to be a super duper strong top tier character. We got Victoria. Really amazing damage dealer. Ultimate skill deals a ton of damage to the enemy, also knocks them back and stuns them for an amount of time, while increasing our physical attack speed. If the ultimate skill destroys the enemy, she instantly just goes ahead, restores 1,000 energy, which pretty crazy. She's one of the most devastating damage dealers in this game. She also has a passive ability where she goes ahead, deals damage, and silences enemies. So she's got a full kit, right? Everything that you would want from an offensive threat. For me, easily at the top, we're putting her in the S. Next one we got is a super duper strong mage, and that's going to be Fernandez, I think is how you say his name. This guy, man, his ultimate skill, absorbs HP from 4 consecutive enemies, deals a bunch of magic damage, and then ignores the defense for an amount of time while turning a percentage of the damage into healing. So really amazing. You're dealing tons of damage and then you're also healing as well. His passive ability creates a domain, lasts for an amount of time, heals all ally adventurers. For me, easily top tier S. We're putting him right above Belle. Next one we got is a mage, and this is going to be Amelia, I think is how you say it. Really strong for controlling effects. With our ultimate skill, we go ahead, create a domain during which ally adventurers attack speeds increase, the critical hits increase, the domain freezes all enemies, we're dispelling 30 random buffs, we deal 5% damage on them. So overall, just another super duper broken character, easily putting them in the top in the S. Next one we got is gonna be Angel. Now she is an amazing support character that specializes in healing. Easily another one, top tier S. No doubt about it. Next one we got is going to be K. He is going to be a shooter, specializes in AoE damage and putting the ignite effect on enemies, which deals an amount of damage, physical damage per second, and it reduces their defense as well, which is really strong. We also have our rum passive ability, takes a sip of rum, we increase our attack speed, our crit hit, our dodge, just going ahead and buffing ourselves up. Overall, really strong character. For me, not quite an S, putting him in the A. Next one we got is going to be a warrior. I think this is pronounced Denisa, I think. We reduce the enemy's attack speed and ignore critical hit by a percentage for 8 seconds, which can really come in handy. And then for our other passive, we grant a shield, lasts an amount of time, which blocks a bunch of damage during the shield's existence. We're going to increase our physical attack by a percentage and critical attack. Just overall, really solid character, putting her in the A. Next one we got is going to be Gino, and this is a mage that has some pretty cool effects as well. For our ultimate skill, throws a bag of treasures at the enemy. We deal a bunch of damage, but we got a 60% chance to confuse the target, making them attack their allies, which can really come in handy depending on who you go ahead and confuse. If you confuse one of their top damage dealing characters, then they can really wreak havoc on their own team. So we're buffing our own team's crit hits and then basically putting a crit resistance on our team as well, which can really come in handy. A solid character overall, nothing that I think is super broken. Going ahead, putting him in the B. So we got is Vera, who is a supporting character, specializes in stuff like healing. For our ultimate skill, we create a domain, delivers punishment. Enemies within the domain take a bunch of damage. And then every 2 seconds, enemies in the domain will take 80% magic damage and be stunned for half a second. The domain lasts for 8 seconds. So you can see they get caught up in it. They're constantly going to get stun locked. We're also going to restore their energy as well and gain immunity to control. So just a really strong passive ability, Dance of Rainfall. And then the other one, all ally adventurers restore 60 energy every 5 seconds upon being alive. For me, easily top tier, putting her at the A. Next one we got is Melody. This is going to be a warrior, specializes in some AoE damage and lightning effects. An okay character, not the greatest. I feel like there are some better options in the A, so I feel like she isn't quite an A for me. I'm putting Melody in the B area. Next one we got is going to be a warrior. This is going to be Tormund, however you say his name. Ultimate skill, deals a bunch of damage to enemies 7 times, and we're also briefly stunning them. Now, it doesn't say how long you're stunning them, it just says, and briefly stunning them. We don't know what the amount of time is. I wish it said like even half a second or something. For each critical hit though, we're gonna restore our max HP and deal additional physical damage to the enemy. So I really like that ultimate skill. Character likes to pretty much just trigger as many crit hits as possible. And then our other passive, when we take damage, we got a chance to block the damage and increase our critical hit. So overall, a really strong character. Can be possibly a tank if you want them to, but a really strong bruising character that specializes in buffing their crit hits and then reducing the enemy's ability to resist crit hits. So for me, top tier, easily an A. Next one we got is, I can't pronounce this one, Skobian. This is a shooter, DPS character. Really a lot of things going on with him. For me, he's sadly a B. There's just not enough going on with those 2 passive effects. He's just kind of like a good, solid range damage dealer, but we have way better options to choose from. Moving along to our last 2 characters. I know it was a long video. If you're still here, comment down below and let me know you watched the whole video. Next one we got is Paul. This is going to be our shooter. He is a pretty cool character because he has some summoning effects. Our ultimate ability confuses a random enemy into attacking their own allies. And then for our passive, we summon a spiritual dog, which is going to assist us. Pretty cool character. Unfortunately for me, I don't think he's that great. I'm putting him at the bottom in like the C, like a C+. The final one we got is going to be Carol. And this is going to be a warrior that specializes in putting the poison effect on enemies. So really cool assassin style character that I absolutely love. She's like a B+, A-. I'm putting her in the A- because I really love the ultimate skill where we reduce the target's healing effect. And like I said, that alone can really win you a lot of battles in the long run. So that is it. That is my personal tier list for the adventures in Tales of Terrarium. I hope you guys and girls enjoyed the video. Stay happy, stay safe, and I'll see y'all later. I'll have very soon my tier list for the craftsmen as well. Peace!